Today we're going to be using this, which is store-bought cauliflower mash, to make 2 keto-friendly gourmet dishes. Sarah and I were a big fan of Sandra Lee growing up because she made semi-homemade meals, meaning that she took store-bought stuff and made something special out of it. And she kind of did things unconventionally, which we also find ourselves doing. So I was at my local grocery store and I saw these and they were on sale. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna grab some and keep them on hand for those nights where I don't feel like cooking anything. This is the Green Giant mashed cauliflower. It has cheddar and bacon in it, and it has 7 grams of total carbs, 2 grams of dietary fiber, so that's 5 grams of net carbs per 1/2 cup. And of course I never ended up using it because that's just life sometimes. So I said, how can we use this product? And I thought, there are a lot of recipes out there where people use leftover mashed potatoes to create dishes. Why can't we use mashed cauliflower instead of potatoes in those recipes? So the first recipe that we're gonna try, it's for keto-friendly pierogies, which are pretty much Polish dumplings. Sarah and I actually both married Polish guys, and
half Polish,
yeah.
but yeah. 75% of our husbands are Polish.
75% of our husbands together are, no, that's 75%.
Yeah, because Alex is part Swedish.
Sarah's husband is part Swedish, part Polish. My husband is 100% Polish. And so we enjoy a good pierogi in our home. Honestly though, in Chicago, there's a huge population of Polish people. So pierogies are really common here. We have a pierogi factory down the street. So since we've never done this before, and cauliflower mash can be a little bit more watery than mashed potatoes, we are going to be kind of testing and seeing what we have to add to it so that it holds together enough to be deep fried and so that it can fill our pierogi. So we have preheated our oven to 425 degrees. We have 2 containers of mashed cauliflower and we're cooking them according to the instructions. But after looking at it, we think that it's still too wet. So I've put it back into the oven, uncovered, to try to draw some of that moisture out of there, have that evaporate so that we can actually get these things to form what we need to form, because we're going to be using our hack to create keto-friendly pierogi. It's the same hack that we use to create keto-friendly ravioli, and that's using Sargento provolone cheese. We absolutely love this hack because we're going to be using melted provolone to create a shell, but when the provolone actually hardens again, it gives you that feeling of eating pasta. And it can also taste like dough. So pierogies can be traditionally served with onions and bacon on top. So we're just gonna cook that up first while our mashed cauliflower is cooking in the oven. We're just gonna be chopping up this onion, adding a bit of olive oil, and cooking them until they're nice and translucent. Sarah already cooked the bacon and it's setting off to the side. So we're gonna start cooking down our onions first while we wait for our cauliflower mash to dry out. Sarah may be right for the first time in her life.
Ha!
It seems like the pre-made cauliflower mash is still a little bit too wet. And so we're gonna go to plan B. We've been cooking it for about 20 minutes and it still seems kind of moist, wet, whatever. Damp. And so we're gonna actually transfer it to our pan and try to cook out some more of that moisture. And then we're just gonna start adding stuff to it. I'm gonna cook it for a couple minutes here to see if that helps. If not, then we have to resort to plan B, which is adding something in there to constitute it. Is that the word?
Thicken.
Thicken it. I mean, I do feel like it's better. I mean, no. I don't know. I think let's try to I am gonna make this work. I don't care if we're here all day. We're gonna cook this for about 10 minutes and see where we're at. I can already see steam coming off of it. We're gonna cook this on low heat.
No, I meant something else.
Sarah was right. For now. I mean, it might.
Do you see how it pains her to say that? Come on. I'm right a couple times here.
We have a cup of our cooked down cauliflower mash. Actually, when you cook it down, it does reduce the volume of the cauliflower mash. So it is pretty thick, but I think that adding the following ingredients are really gonna help it thick up so we can put them inside our pierogi shells. We have 1/2 cup of shredded cheddar cheese, 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan, which I think is gonna really help soak up the rest of that moisture, and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder just to punch up the flavor. We're gonna add that in. Hopefully it's gonna be at a consistency that I feel it's gonna hold inside our cheese shells. Then we're gonna just scoop about a tablespoon of filling into each of the provolone slices that we have laid out on parchment paper. We have preheated our oven to 350 degrees. So the point of putting these in the oven is just to get the cheese melted. It should look shiny, but not bubbling like crazy or browning or anything like that. You just want the cheese to be pliable enough so that you can fold it over. On the stove, our onions have become super like translucent and they look really good. We're gonna chop up our bacon that we've already cooked and throw it in there. And then we're gonna start plating up our pierogies. We're gonna have a couple, maybe 2 or 3 pierogi each. We're going to top it with our onion bacon mixture, some green onion, and a huge dollop of sour cream. We're gonna go downstairs and we're gonna try it. Great, I am so excited. This looks amazing.
Beautiful.
So let's try it.
It's amazing to me how much that provolone acts like pasta dough if you don't overcook it. Super delicious. Let's bring it back to Old Warsaw. Old Warsaw was a Polish restaurant many moon ago in Chicago. If you live in Chicago and know what Old Warsaw is, leave a comment.
Super flavorful, absolutely delicious.
We might have gone a little heavy-handed with the garlic just because we were underestimating how much garlic was actually in the mash. But I mean, I'm not offended by it, but maybe other people might be offended by it, like vampires.
Right.
And whatnot.
Maybe if you want to add more garlic, maybe like 1/4 of a teaspoon or 1/2 of a teaspoon at the most. The cool thing about this is we used about 1 cup of the filling, and it literally made like 16 pierogi. It's just a ton of flavor for the carb. I believe we said earlier that 1/2 of a cup of the mashed potatoes is about 4 net carbs, and you're only using like a tablespoon at the most in each of these pierogi. And so 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, how many carbs are in this? Not that much. You have a little
the
bit.
bacon doesn't have anything. Maybe some trace with the onions.
Totally worth it though. If you guys don't know what a pierogi is, it's like a dumpling. Like every culture has a dumpling. I really liked fried pierogis. You can't do that with this, but this really does hit the spot. I think that if you guys love any of these flavors, bacon, onion, garlic,
Yeah.
you're gonna absolutely love this recipe. This one is 100% husband approved. I'm bringing home some for my husband, Brad. The second thing we're gonna be trying is cauliflower mash fried balls. Spheres. We're gonna be adding the same things pretty much to the pierogies, although I do feel like we were saying earlier that we added a little bit too much garlic. So I think we're gonna cut the garlic for the cauliflower mash balls. Is there another word?
Spheres.
Bites. We have the other half of our cooked down cauliflower mash. We're gonna be adding in the shredded cheese. We're gonna be adding in some Parmesan, which I felt like worked really well to absorb that excess moisture. I carefully formed them into a ball and then drop that ball into some pork panko that we have put garlic powder into. If you guys are hesitant of using pork panko because you feel that it tastes too much like pork rinds, try adding garlic to them and it really does mask that flavor. We have lightly patted them all around the sides and then put them on a plate and we stuck them in the freezer. We have our oil and we're gonna heat it up to about 325 degrees probably. We're gonna take the bites out of the freezer and drop them into our oil. We're going to fry them until they're golden brown. Remember, nothing really has to cook inside these to any kind of internal temperature because it's all pre-cooked. So just cook them until you see a nice golden color on the pork rinds. We put a couple pieces of paper towel on a plate and we're gonna take them out of the oil and let them drain, and then we're gonna go downstairs and try it. I haven't even thought about a sauce. Are we using a sauce?
No.
What?
No sauce.
Really?
Yeah, we're gonna eat the balls.
We don't have ranch or anything?
Sure. We'll have some ranch on the side.
So here are our shapes. I'm not sure why mine have collapsed more than Sarah's have. I have some theories though, but we'll talk about that after we try it. It's still really good.
It's like, I taste jalapeno, but we're dipping it in some jalapeno ranch from Lighthouse, and that's why I taste like that. Did we add jalapenos in here?
This is really good.
You know what reminds me of? Like a loaded baked potato. Or a twice baked. I don't know what the difference between a loaded baked potato or a twice baked potato, where like they bake it and then they take it out and then they add all the stuff and then they put it back in. Have you ever had that before? This is what this is kind of reminding me of. You have that crispy outside.
So I think these are really, really good. It reminds me of something that you would get at like a bar, like a really like elevated bar in Chicago, where we probably went wrong. So we probably made them too big and we didn't leave them to freeze long enough. So make them smaller if you're gonna make these are really good, guys. These are delicious, but they're odd shapes. They're more like patties. But who cares? I mean, honestly, but freeze them for longer.
Yeah.
Maybe like an hour or something. We were kind of in a rush today, not gonna lie. We froze them for 20 minutes. I touched it. I'm like, it's frozen. Let's go. But I think also if you were to use an egg coating, the egg coating method where you would take the frozen balls and put them in egg and then into the pork panko, I believe that the egg would have formed like a protective layer to keep it together.
Yeah, a shell.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, this is delicious.
No, I really like both of these recipes that we tried today. I think it's really cool to have some different uses for that pre-made cauliflower mash just to have. If you have it in your freezer and you're not craving to eat it like it is, why not throw it together? You could have pierogies or these mashed balls.
Spheres. Or if you guys make cauliflower mash, you can make them into these too. That might be a cool way to do it. Like you make an extra big serving, you could freeze whatever you don't use and then defrost it and make these recipes with it. I would recommend both of them. We'll leave links to the inspiration and to our modifications to the recipe. So as we mentioned earlier, the other way that we like to use the Sargento provolone cheese slices is to make raviolis out of them. And we recently made a mushroom ravioli. It was absolutely delicious. If you guys want to see that video, you can click right here and we will see you over there. Anyway, I'm Emily.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Keto Twins signing out.
I want to save one for my husband. That's why I'm not eating them. I want him to try it. It's really good.
I'm hungry.